Hey guys, Scott here with a guide on how to counter the Orochi. Now, the Orochi is probably one of the biggest noob stompers in the game, so this is probably why you see a lot of people complaining about her, but you'll notice those people are not particularly experienced with the game, and as player skill gets higher and higher, Orochi actually becomes less and less useful. So I thought I would show you, since I've been using Orochi pretty much since the first alpha, that's pretty much the only character I've been playing, so I know what counters me, so I thought I'd show you what exactly you can do to counter the Orochi. Quickly before I start, I just wanted to go over an app called GamerLink, which is pretty much a looking for group system that you can just use for honor, and the reason I bring this up is because say you want to practice against an Orochi but you don't have any friends that play Orochi, you can't really just randomly join a match with an Orochi, and bots tend to be a little bit more predictable unless you're on level 3, and those guys are clearly cheating. But if you want an actual friend to practice against, you can just go into the app, just say, looking for an Orochi to fight, and you can set up some matches. So it's really useful if you want to practice particular things. Alright, so the first and probably most important thing I can tell you about countering an Orochi is always be in top stance when you're fighting against one. If you're an assassin class, just do a stance between right and top. And when I say stance, I mean, just go right top, right top, right top, right top, so it never actually expires. And this is because all of Orochi's attacks that come out faster than you might be able to react to all come from the top. There are no attacks that the Orochi has, other than maybe the zone attack, that come out faster than you can react to. So an Orochi usually initiates with one of three things. They usually all start with a dash, though. So an Orochi is probably going to forward dash into you. That's the first thing you're going to see. Next, he's either going to do a lightning strike, which is a very common opener, but very easy to parry or deflect, and you should start with just blocking it by having your stance always an up, because that always comes from the top. But it is painfully easy to deflect. And another thing an Orochi might do is dash into you and expect that you expect that coming and instead do a guard break. So you need to expect an attack coming from the top, and you also need to expect a guard break to happen, and then you can just do a guard break counter by pressing square just as they hit you. Although they recently changed this, and the timing's a bit strange now, so definitely get some practice with it. A third thing that I tend to do sometimes is dash in, and an opponent might expect both of those things, and in higher level, people tend to not get guard broken ever, so I dash in and instead wait a second and do a zone attack. So basically the only things you have to worry about are guard breaks, top attacks, and right attacks. The top attack comes out very fast, so by default you should have your guard up top, and the guard break is very easy to counter, and the zone attack has to be after a little bit of a delay, because if an Orochi charges into you and tries a zone attack immediately, he'll instead just do a lightning strike, and it'll come from the top. So if an Orochi comes at you and pauses for like a little millisecond, then guard to the right, because that's where the zone attack comes from. So that's really the only initiation the Orochi has. It's going to be from the top, or it's going to be a guard break, or it's going to be from the right. That's all they can do. And only the ones from the top are faster than you can kind of react. So there's not really much Orochi can do to close the gap. Another thing I've noticed when people are fighting Orochi, they struggle with the Zephyr Slash. Zephyr Slash is basically when you swing at the Orochi, she dodges left or right and does that spinning slash and seemingly iframes through your attacks. Iframes are invincibility frames, and it's basically when you're in an animation, you're invincible for a certain time, and that's pretty annoying to deal with. However, it's very, very easily countered by feinting. So you don't want to just walk up to an Orochi and just attack, because she's probably just going to dodge and then Zephyr Slash you. So what you want to do is walk up to an Orochi and then feint an attack, which will bait out the dodge, and then see which direction they're dodging and prepare a parry or deflect in that direction. And that's all you have to do. It's really, really easy to dodge. The only other options that the Orochi has when you feint are to simply dodge and not attack, and then, okay, you've just reset it back to neutral and you're not dying to Zephyr Slash anymore, so feinting completely counters it. Next, I see people complaining about Storm Rush, which just boggles my mind because it actually has been nerfed so many times that it's nigh useless against good players. It can be used to feint into other things, which is pretty much the only actual purpose it does serve, but it's very rare that you can carry out a Storm Rush from the max range and have it hit a player unless they are whiffing a heavy or something like that. It's pretty much a punishment tool, and it's not a gap closer, it's not an initiator, so a smart Orochi will never do this out of neutral. So the only thing that you need to learn how to do against that is just learn the parry and deflect timings, because if they fully carry this out, it is painfully slow, and you can parry and deflect it very, very easily. And by the way, to parry and deflect, deflecting is dodging into the attack right at the last moment, and parrying is attacking with a strong attack in the same direction as the attack is coming from, again at the exact same time. So, say you screw up and you do get hit by a Storm Rush. It happens to everybody. So, you get hit, and this is going to combo into 2 top light attacks, and there's nothing you can do to stop that. Now, what happens afterwards is entirely up to you. So usually an Orochi will try to go from the left or to the right. And a very common follow-up to getting hit with the Storm Rush into 2 lights is a zone attack, because it also comes out very fast and you're still blocking up top, but the zone attack comes from the right. So be prepared to change your block from the top. In fact, you don't need your block at top whatsoever, because most classes in the game, and I say most classes because Raider and a couple of others can actually block the 2 top attacks, but for the most part, you want to have your block in the right after you get hit by that combo, because the zone attack is probably coming out, and if it is an attack from the left, it's usually too slow for you to, not be able to react to, so then you can just change your guard to the left. So by default, have your guard up top and then switch to the right after the 2 hits. Another good thing to know is that the Orochi has the most pitiful throw distance in the entire game. Orochi's counter guard break actually throws the opponent back further than her guard break throw. It's really sad, and it makes me sad when I play Orochi. So if you're a heavier class and you're nearing an edge, don't be threatened by, getting thrown off a cliff, because it rarely happens, and chances are you can throw her a lot further. So if I had to sum up how to beat an Orochi player, at least, average ones, I would say always have your guard up, because they are always going to be doing top light attacks and lightning strikes and things like that. All their fast attacks come from the top, so as long as you're prepared to defend against those, nothing can ever surprise you from an Orochi. The other thing you want to make sure to do is never just walk up to one and attack. Fainting kind of wrecks Orochis. They can't deflect you if you're fainting, because they'll dodge too early. They can't Zephyr Slash you, because then you can bait that into your own parry or deflect. So yeah, just don't walk up to an Orochi and attack, and always watch your top, and then there's really nothing else they can do. Everything else they do is pretty lackluster. They have very low stamina. Their zone attack is slower than the Warden's. They have just way too much reliance on the top. So if you're getting hit from the left and right, well, that's a different story, because those attacks come out fairly slowly. And obviously there's a lot more to the Orochi than that, but that'll be for a guide on how to actually use Orochi, which I definitely will plan on making, but I want to kind of master her first before I can do that. That being said, this is how to beat, an average Orochi, which is probably mostly what you're going to come across, so hopefully this will stop you from getting killed from them, and I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, probably for either the top 5 of the week or the actual Orochi guide. But thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy.